Thanks for staying with us. It's still iBrandTV, and it's time to delve into the topical issue of the day. Now, the Ministry of Interior has reiterated the commitment of the federal government to tackle insecurity occasioned by irregular migration and increasing transnational activities across the international borders of Nigeria. The ministry's permanent secretary Shuaib Belgor disclosed this in Lagos while delivering a speech at the third edition of the International Security Management course in Lagos. In a statement signed by the ministry's Deputy Director of Press, Afonja Ajibola, on Wednesday, Belgor said the federal government, through the Nigerian Immigration Service, had devised new ways to improve border security, border control, management, monitoring, and protection, adding that such innovations would help confront the 21st century's evolving challenges as well that continues to pose a threat to Nigeria's internal security. Now, joining us to discuss this is Alex Okonkwo, a security expert as well as a public affairs analyst who joins us virtually. Alex, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure here.
Thank you so much for your time. Let's look at this. For all of the challenges we've had regarding security over the last few years, especially in terms of Boko Haram insurgency, you have the banditry of a thing which has long been gazetted as a terrorist act as well. Do you think this is a step in the right direction by the federal government?
Oh, it is the step we've been waiting for years. Okay. To be honest, people don't realize that Nigeria is the biggest country in West Africa. Mm-hmm. It's the one that has the biggest borders. Just to give you an example, our border with Niger Republic is close to 1,600 kilometers. I hope people understand what that is. That means we have a border with the Niger Republic, just one country, up north, that spans close to 1,600 kilometers. And I'm talking of border in this sense is not just the legal border. It also involves the forest, the bushes, and all that. So it is important to be able to man it properly.
Okay. Talking about manning it properly, I mean, over the years, we've had porous borders, and we've clamored for, these borders to be well secured. There have also been, issues of corruption within the officials of those manning, the agencies manning these borders, from your customs to, your immigration service and all of that. How do we improve, or curb the issue of corruption within these sister agencies to ensure that we have a very strong border control?
Okay, well, to be honest, I wouldn't want to on the issue of corruption, because you and I know corruption is a
The problem is this: we must understand that with the borders we have, there's a lot of transnational businesses going on, commerce going on, and trading. Now, when we say corruption of some of the officials, in reality, the kind of corruption we have is the petty corruption we already have in Nigeria. I'll give you a typical example. A businessman from Niger Republic wants to move some goods into Nigeria. He might not have the necessary documents complete, and he gives a bit of a bribe or whatever we call it in Nigeria, and he taxes his goods that day. Now, unfortunately, that is the corruption that we can still imagine, because we know it happens even within the country.
Yes.
But also, some terrorists also will pass through that net.
Exactly.
Unfortunately. So that is where the issue is, because we've always had corruption in this country, and as much as I know, the government is fighting it as much as it can. Of course, corruption is fighting back.
Exactly.
So the idea here, the issue here is that, yes, while corruption is a major problem, it is not the only problem we have with our porous borders.
Okay.
And the government, from today, from what was announced a few days ago, will now be tackling it with the support of some of our partners, which we will mention a bit later.
Okay, talking about the federal government's new innovation to tackle, border porosity, irregular migration, insecurity, and all of that. Can you run us through some of these innovations?
Okay, yes. Initially, what is happening is there's a partnership that has been set up with the EU in support, the United States, and then the United Nations as well, UNODC, which is in charge of drugs and commerce control. And so there are going to be more CCTVs installed. The border patrol teams are going to have more satellite phones. This allows them to communicate with themselves without using the local networks, which we know. This is very important. There's something that's going to be installed as well. It's going to be called the light scanning machines. These machines allow the officers to actually examine what vehicles are carrying, and because a lot of people think we're around with animals. I mean, donkeys and all that. As funny as it sounds, it still happens. We're talking of Niger Republic, we're talking of Chad and all that. And then the patrol teams are going to be more equipped with vehicles that can allow them, what we call a 4x4 vehicles that can allow them move on all terrain. Because you must realize part of the borders that we're talking about are deep bushes where none of us can go like that. And then some other parts are like Sahel, which is open arid land. And then there is the intention, I'm saying the intention, to have canine patrols. Because sometimes these dogs will be able to sniff out things better. We're already using them in the airports. We're now talking about using them at the land borders. First of all, let us also remind Nigerians, borders means airport, maritime borders, and land borders. So it's not just land. It's also important to clarify that. Okay, so those are some of the things that are going to be in that plan.
Okay, talking about the land border now, let's focus on that before we delve to other borders. For that of the land, you said the border between Niger and Nigeria spans over 1,600 kilometers. Okay, so for such a large expanse of land or border, as it were, how much of an impact will these innovations like your CCTVs and what have you, the patrol teams have? Because that's quite a stretch, and it will involve a huge number of personnel to be able to man it in that sense, alongside the various technologies that will be deployed.
Yes, there's no doubt that is a big issue because the land mass we're talking about is massive.
Exactly.
The thing here is that, I have to tell Nigerians, the National Immigration Service is just about 25,000 men.
Wow.
All of them. I'm talking of the whole service. It's just about 25,000 men. That is well on the farm. And then they are complemented by the Customs Service. And they are complemented by a bit of the civil defense and the military, as we know. These are just complementary services that system. It is true, you're very correct. 1,600 kilometers of border cannot be controlled only by Nigeria. And this is where I'm coming to. I remember when there was a scandal when we had that the government gave some vehicles in the Niger Republic. My brother,
yes,
this border by definition is between two countries or more.
Apparently.
That means the border manning will have to be done by both sides.
Okay.
Now, I have to give Nigerians some facts as well. In our land borders across different countries,
yes,
we have over 1,500 illegal entries.
Wow.
I insist, illegal entry points. Because, yes, like you said rightly, we have the borders where you cross, like the border, where you cross and show your passport. But we also have the border, which is in the bush. And nobody is manning that. So the official borders that we have are 84. We have 84 official
borders
where you present your document borders. And those ones, even with those ones, we cannot totally control everybody. Because we have an ECOWAS protocol that allows members of the
member states
to travel freely for 90 days.
Yes.
It is a protocol that was signed a few years back, so we're respecting it. And that also means some terrorists or some ill-intentioned people can also cross over. You cannot totally control the border 100%. What we are saying is to do the best we can and have a bit of identity, which is NIN is going to help us identify those who are Nigerians and those who are not Nigerians. And then we will start doing a bit of efficient border manning. But it will never be 100%. And we have to accept that fact.
Okay, let me get your thoughts regarding the possibility of this, because if we have 1,600 kilometers, over 1,600 kilometers, landmass between Nigeria and Niger alone, we still have Chad, we have Cameroon, and the rest of them, Benin Republic and all. Is there a possibility of having a multi-joint, task force to man the borders, revolving all the countries that Nigeria borders. I'm talking about Benin Republic, Cameroon, Chad, Niger Republic. Is that a possibility, especially to man those entries that you said are illegal and which are about 1,005 or more?
Well, in the legal framework of it, we don't have that kind of possibility.
Okay.
They don't exist because that will involve serious bilateral collaboration.
Yeah.
What we do have is we have joint task force, military joint task force,
Okay.
who are already working. We've been working for over 15 years with Chad, Bornu, Sambisa Forest.
That's the fight insecurity. But that multi-joint task force you're talking about, the military, is just to fight insurgency in terms of Boko Haram. So can't we have the same thing replicated for the borders?
Well, we're not at that level yet. For example, I can tell you that the EU, the European Union, has such a guard patrol. Because they started their own alliance much earlier than us. But for this to happen, it will have to happen at an ECOWAS level. Because it cannot be bilateral. You cannot sign 10 different agreements with 10 different countries. It will have to be at ECOWAS level. And ECOWAS border patrol, armed and equipped. You don't forget, these countries speak different languages.
Exactly.
You remember that. So it is more complex than just wishing it.
Okay.
It will have to take time. It will have to take training, and it will have to take equipment to know. Because when you are a Nigerian and the Benin Republic person controls you, and by mistake something happens, I know how Nigerians will be angry. And vice versa, the same thing will happen for the Benin Republic, the Benin Noir. So it will have to be at the ECOWAS level and not country by country level. So we're in the long term. It's something that we could dream of in the long term, but not immediately.
Well, that's a huge task, really. Let's turn our attention now to the issue of other borders. How do you think the federal government can come up with, modern innovations to address the challenges of other borders aside that of the land?
I can't hear you very well. Just speak a bit louder or something that has to be.
Okay, can you hear me now? Am I more audible? Hello, Alex. Am I more audible?
Yes, go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. My question is this. Let's deviate from the issue of the land border, because apparently that's a huge task we have on our hands. But let's turn our attention to other borders. How can the federal government, come up with innovations to address the challenges, affecting other borders, especially in this 21st century?
Well, to be honest, a lot is being done. When the president came in 2015, he had a plan already to man our borders. If you remember, we closed our borders to 4 countries for a while, if you remember.
Yes, for food production.
Sorry?
I said yes, for food production.
Yes, it was not just food production. I mean, food production was one of it. It was about smuggling. Don't forget that all the goods that come, most of the goods that come into Nigeria go through Benin Republic.
Yes.
So it is not just in terms of food. Because it means that we are the ones funding their exportation. In reality, everything is coming into Nigeria. So it's quite it's not as easy as it sounds. I know a lot has been done in terms of do you know that there are a lot of fingerprint control now at the air border? I'm talking about the air border now.
Okay.
And so a lot these things that are being done on the land border actually started 2 years ago in the air border.
Okay.
So in the major airports, Abuja, Port Harcourt, Kano, and Lagos.
Okay.
That's the airline. So it already started 2 years ago with that. What I'm saying is that we're moving to the next level, which is what I mentioned with the light scanning machine. This is a game changer. It means from a distance, you can already see what people have on them.
Okay.
Which also means you can also see a vehicle and see their arms on it. You don't have to actually confront each vehicle. Because people must realize the goods Niger Republic receives comes from our port in Lagos.
Okay.
So you can imagine the number of containers and trucks that move between Nigeria, that's from Lagos all the way to Niger Republic.
Yeah.
That's just to give an example of the work that is to do.
Okay.
So the airports are being manned properly. What we are doing now is that we are creating something that's being put in place, which is a migration information data system.
Okay.
Called the acronym is MIDAS, if you want. That is being put in place so that data will be exchanged between
Okay.
between Nigeria and another ECOWAS country. We will know who you are, even if you're using somebody's passport.
Okay.
So that's a big changer. Of course, you and I know we cannot say everything right there, because of course
Apparently.
we're also telling people how to. But a lot, much more is being done. What handicapped the federal government for a while was actually the lack of funds.
Okay.
Because these things were already on program when the government came in. But of course, as they moved on, they had to first solve the COVID problem, solve the terrorist problem. There were other problems, not just manning our air borders. So a lot is being done. In the next days, in the next months to come, you will see quite a lot of changes.
Okay, let's look at the maritime sector now. That border is one that raises concerns because February this year we had the issue of adulterated, petrol being imported into the country. It led to several people complaining about their vehicles being damaged or their generating sets and all other industrial equipment. You also had scarcity of the product as the NNPC was grappling with the adulterated fuel having circulated all through the nation. Just this morning on the front page of the Punch, yes, you had the story, the headline that read that customs intercepted 80,000 liters of dirty diesel. Again, for the maritime, sector, that's a border now. How do we address these issues of either importation of adulterated goods or smuggling, as it were, so as to strengthen that border?
Well, the maritime border is a bit more complex. Already, our maritime border goes to over 20 nautical miles from our seashores. So what I'm trying to tell you is that our maritime border is even in the sea.
Okay.
It's not by the shore. It's even within the sea.
Within the sea.
So it means there's a vast terrain. Yes, that's how it works. Because we can fish within that limit. We can look for oil within that limit.
Within that limit as well.
That's the international norm. So it's not just our shore. It's not just on the land part of it. It's also within the international sea.
Okay.
So that makes it a bit more complex. The other thing is that the Navy has been operating since April.
Yes.
An operation called it's a Hausa name actually, Dakata Dabarawo, which means it's like a chase against the oil theft, something like that.
Yes.
The translation. And this allows the Navy to massively employ over 35 ships.
Okay.
A lot of air support. And to stop illegal refineries
on the Gulf of Guinea.
To stop oil bunkering. So it's already been massively. It was not announced publicly a lot.
Okay.
It has already been in motion. And this is in collaboration with a lot of other countries that have sea close to us, like Equatorial Guinea.
Okay.
Their sea line, their seashore is also close to us. And then we're drilling the oil for them. There's a lot of things we're doing with them.
Yes.
So that last vessel that was actually stopped at Equatorial Guinea,
yes.
we'll find out the story a bit more, because in reality, we will need to find out where the vessel came from, where it's going, and who is buying and who's selling.
Yes.
So you cannot lose a vessel of oil without somebody being involved. Somebody must have paid for it. You see what I'm saying? So when you cannot catch the person physically, you can at least catch him financially.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? There must be a track.
Throw the money.
So in terms of our border, a lot is being done, but we are doing it with the international community.
Okay.
Remember that under the Jonathan administration, we used to suffer from piracy. You remember?
Yes.
Piracy.
Especially on the Gulf of Guinea.
Exactly. The EU brought a lot of support. So in our international sea, you have a lot of naval ships that are parading that area.
Okay.
The Danish sea, the Danish Navy, the US Navy, and then a joint collaboration of EU and naval. So a lot of things are being done on the naval side. It makes it a bit complicated, because sometimes these vessels can go through that net with the proper declarations, and you don't know which country is responsible.
Okay.
So a lot is being done. We cannot say everything here, but I can tell you the Navy has been running an operation which has massively reduced the amount of oil bunkering and illegal oil that we used to have.
Okay. That's quite impressive, it must be said. I'm sure Nigerians will appreciate the efforts of our gallant men and women in the Navy who are trying to keep us safe, especially on the waterways. Let's talk about the issue of manpower. I know you said earlier that it's about 25,000, nationally, and that's not enough to man our borders. Do you think the federal government, in the light of this, should recruit more because, I mean, the rate of unemployment is high and you have several people looking for jobs. So should they recruit more? Although I also understand the implication of that on the economy as well as your other parastatals.
Yes. The thing is, I've forgotten his name now. The DG of the National Immigration Service, Nigerian Immigration Service, once was allowed to recruit a few years back. I think it was 2 years ago.
Okay.
And they recruited over 1,500 people.
Okay.
Now, the issue we have with that's not enough. According to him, they actually need double.
Okay.
So
that's about 3,000.
We need 50,000. Yes, we need 50,000 people minimum to start doing something tangible. Now, what was favored by the federal government was to say, let us have a bit of technology to support the manpower we have currently. You know, we are in a digital world.
Exactly.
So there's no need having 500,000 men if they cannot see what's happening before it happens.
Okay. So
the federal government has decided in this particular dispensation to invest more in technology. Things we mentioned earlier.
Okay.
And then as we go on, because security is a continuum,
yes,
the next government will have to recruit.
Okay.
Let's start with the foundation. If we have the right vehicles, the right canine patrol, the right light equipment, the right satellite phone, for now, it will be a good step. The next step will be to recruit and train. You know, recruitment means train as well.
Yes,
because of course, nobody has immigration in his spirit already. You have to train. That might take 18 months.
Yes.
And then you need welfare. And then you need to build border stations. You see, Nigerians, I think the government is not doing well in communicating. While they are having policies on ground, they're not communicating the difficulties and the time it requires.
Okay.
This country has not had a border structure for a very long time. We're actually living the consequences of having a long military rule when it was just the military and nothing else. The reason why our police is underserved is because we had military rule for a long time.
Exactly.
If we had political rule for a long time, the police would have been well developed.
Okay.
But the military we have is far developed than the police. So we are correcting those errors now.
Okay.
So Nigerians must be informed that what the government is doing is just correcting the lapses that we've had for 30 years easily. So in the future, and this is what interests you and our listeners, in the future, we would have a better border patrol. There will be more training. There will be a lot of partnership with the countries beside us, because you don't man your border. You know, your border is my border.
Okay.
You know, our border with Ghana, our border with Benin Republic is their own border on the other side.
Yes.
So it takes two. It takes two to control the border. It takes two states to control the border. We cannot do it alone. So as much as we're developing on this side, we're also helping them to man the border on their own side. That is why we see Nigeria as the big brother of West Africa supporting other countries. It is not wrong. It is not wrong to do that. It is actually right.
Okay. Just as we wrap up this conversation, I mean, for all of the the deployment of technology and all the right things this government is doing or putting in place to ensure that we have a stronger border control and management to tackle irregular migration as well as insecurity, what other measures do you think, as a security expert, that the federal government can bring on board to strengthen our borders further?
Okay, I would say, even though I give them a pass mark for now because they're in the right direction, we need to do more about identification and data.
Okay.
When I say data, sorry, I don't just mean data. I also mean the data transmission. So as soon as you mention your name or your NIN number, anywhere in the country where we have a border, they should be able to know you are crossing.
Okay.
I mean, even though you are not crossing at that border physically, you should be able to know you are in the country. You see what I mean?
Okay.
So even though you cross at the point in Katsina, we in Port Harcourt, we should know you have entered Nigeria. Okay. So we're waiting to know when you will leave, because the ECOWAS members have 90 days that they can be in Nigeria for free, like a free visa, and that has to be signaled everywhere. So it's about data and about data transmission. But to do that, we ourselves as Nigerians will all have to have our ID card. Because the only way to know if you are not a Nigerian is to know who's a Nigerian. You see the trick in border control. So a lot is being done, but not enough in terms of proper identification and data transmission. That is one key point I think the government, not just today, but the government in the future should invest in, and then make sure we can transmit data properly and on time.
Okay. Alex Okonkwo, security expert as well as a public affairs analyst, thank you so much for your time on the show this morning discussing the federal government's innovations regarding border security. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Have a lovely day.
You too. Do have a good day. Thank you so much.
Yes.
It's time to go on a break. When we return, you'll be watching our discussion with Bolu Okpaniro, the CEO of Edge Plus Creative, where he discussed with us about the business of advertising. And that's our Money Motivation segment. Please do stay tuned.